want to bring us all together and just kind of talk about what's going on. We want to focus on a couple of questions just to keep the conversation going. And we'll do introductions first. So I'll let you know I'm Becky with the Andover Chamber of Commerce. I'm the president and CEO. And we're glad to have all of you here. And I'm going to ask David to introduce himself first. Let us know who you are.
Hello, I'm David North. I'm the general manager at Flinthills National Golf Club. I'm also a board member and on the business support committee as the person that holds the agenda.
You hold it up.
I just hold it and say, this is what we're doing next.
Yeah.
Becky
He does
said
more.
this is
He really does more than that. So don't let him fool you.
not much.
Holly.
I'm Holly Hart. I'm the executive assistant here at the chamber.
Pat.
I'm Pat Pelkowski, own Shaken or Stirred Bartending.
Ivy.
I'm Ivy Neal, and my husband Luke and I own Let's Roll Mobile Detailing.
Brittney.
My name is Brittney Dahl. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I just opened my practice here in Andover.
Where are you located, Brittney?
I am with, let's see, Matt Carmichael.
Oh, Cartwright. Yes.
Cartwright. That's right.
Yes.
Cartwright,
Yes.
And his building. So I have an office there.
Right there at 159th.
Yes. On
Okay.
59th and Central. Yes.
Okay. Great. Sarah.
Good morning. I am Sarah Madden with Butler Electric Cooperative and Velocity Internet. I apologize you can't see me this morning. I'm having technical difficulties. And even the IT guy couldn't get the camera to come back to life. So I'm going to drop off and rejoin the meeting here.
Oh, see if that helps. Yeah.
He said maybe that'll help. So
yeah.
I'll be right back.
All right. Thanks, Sarah. Well, we want to give opportunities for people to get together and just kind of talk a little bit about what's happening within your business and, maybe target on, how are you marketing your business now during the COVID pandemic and what have you seen as you look at changes within your businesses or what you're doing within your business that may not be what you've done before, but we all want to try to learn from each other. So I'm thinking that if we can just start a conversation, maybe some of us can get some tips about, how others are doing things and what's working and what's not working. So that's kind of the questions. What have you done to market your business, and is it different than what it was pre-COVID? So, and I'll just open it up if anybody wants to talk about that.
Well, I'll go.
Oh, good.
I was just going to say that, as far as we're doing, most of our non-wedding stuff is canceling and stuff. So what we've been doing is we know that the wedding business is going to come back. Everybody wants to have a party when they get married. The folks that right now have to cancel, they're just devastated that they don't get to have their party. So we know it's coming back. So we're really focusing our efforts on making sure that we get in front of all the brides and grooms that we can still. They're scheduling way out. For the first time ever, I'm just looking at my list, we've got potential gigs in 2023. So folks are reaching out that far, where it used to be just maybe 6 or 7 at this point for next year. Unfortunately for us, a lot of the reschedules took up potential dates for other people next year. So, we're going to see a loss, and everybody's going to see a loss in revenue, but we're going to see basically a year's loss in probably 80% of our wedding revenue. So we're trying to figure out how to make that up. During the summer months, we're really pushing our outdoor stuff, getting our mobile truck moving, getting it out there, pushing where we can be. I really wish I had like 2 or 3 more right now and someplace to put them. But that's really seems to be where we're gaining a lot of our revenue back. And then trying to branch off with those mixology classes that I've been telling you about. I've been getting new partners for those. And as time progresses, I see more people interested in those just because they want to get out and do something. And I can promise them a huge room separated by 8 feet, and they can still do something. So,
On the weddings, Pat, do you notice where they may go ahead and have the wedding, but are planning to have their party later on? I know of
Yeah.
several that are doing that, and I didn't know if you've seen that kind of shift.
yeah, I'm seeing a lot of different stuff out there. On the simple one like that, yeah, a lot of folks are just, they're going, we were all ready to move in with each other, and have one household. And so it didn't make financial sense for them to split it off then. Some did, but, so all of a sudden I'm getting checks from folks that now have changed addresses that haven't had the wedding yet, where we didn't have that before.
Right.
But a lot of venues are saying, okay, still get married here on that day with just you, your parents, and a select few that we can spread out, and then we'll reschedule you at no cost for another date. So we're seeing a lot of that go through. A lot of folks are just saying, look, we're just going to have the reception now, and it's going to be on this date. We went off somewhere and got married already. So
Yeah.
we're seeing a lot of that.
Yeah. Sarah, were you gonna say something?
Yes, I was just gonna say, of course, for electric, we don't really market that side of it, but for Velocity, of course, when schools shut down in March, we didn't really need to market because, people were just, swamping us with business. We are trying to focus gearing up going into school and making sure that families are prepared for what their internet demands are going to be. We are working with Butler County, and I don't have details yet on that I can release, for a grant for low-income housing or low-income families as well, to help get them internet maybe a little more in their price range.
Is that through
And,
the Spark program, Sarah?
Yes. And it's been submitted. So hopefully, we'll have details on that really soon to help get some people, because in the rural area, there aren't a lot of options for
Right.
them.
Right.
So
Have
we're
you looked
working
at,
on that as well.
have you guys looked at the Kansas Department of Commerce grants? I think they have 2 for
I don't know if
internet.
we've looked at those. We're working on a couple of different grants.
Okay.
In different places. I don't know if we've looked at that one yet, but
Okay.
we're
'Cause
just doing
I think they
everything
had
we can.
2 related to internet and broadband and all that kind of stuff. So
Okay. Yeah, I will definitely take a look out there.
yeah. Okay. And Brittney, you're a new business. How do you
Yeah.
see yourself marketing as a new business starting up in this pandemic?
Right. Well, not only do we have the COVID pandemic, but right now we really have a mental health
That's
pandemic and crisis as well. So I've actually seen my business pick up quite a bit. Clients that I haven't seen in a long time are wanting to schedule and get in. I have tons of couples that are home quarantined together about ready to kill themselves.
or each other.
That's right, or each other. So I've been doing a lot of couples counseling, and but what I have been doing is making sure that my presence on social media is really strong. I've been trying to give lots of just resources for people right now. I have a website and a blog that I write, so I've been writing quite a bit about toxic stress and what to do for some healthy coping skills and practicing mindfulness and those sorts of things. And the Butler News has posted a few of my blogs,
Right.
and that's been a good resource. So I have found, I've had quite a few people scheduling some appointments. So that's just what I'm really trying to do, is offer a lot of resources for people,
Right.
and make sure that I'm touching base with, I'm doing teletherapy, so I can see people all over the state of Kansas.
Yeah.
So in a lot of rural communities, I've worked out there. I have some contacts out in different places around rural Kansas. So just trying to let people know that teletherapy is a really good option right now, because the insurance companies are paying for it because of
Right.
COVID. And
Do you think everybody knows that, though? That
No.
insurance companies will pay for that?
no, a lot of people don't. So we're trying to get the word out, but it has been, insurance
Wow.
companies are typically, they'll send an email or some
Right.
mail to people
Right.
letting them know, but not, who reads those. So trying to
Exactly.
put those things out on social media as much as possible with those contacts that I have and letting people know. I'm part of a Kansas Mental Health Facebook page, and there's a lot of people just asking for, who's doing telehealth right now, who is, able to provide. I do trauma. I'm trained in EMDR, which is a trauma therapy model, and not a lot of people do that over teletherapy, but I do. So I've been trying to put that out there as well too, as a resource of saying you can still do EMDR from a distance, and have some trauma help during this time. So I've been, like I said, just really trying to connect with as many people as I can in different places and let them know that help is still out there.
Are you finding that social media is kind of your area
It has been
get
amazing.
people?
Yeah, it's been really helpful. So as Sarah knows, internet right now, people quarantined in their house is that's where people are at right now.
Right.
They're online, and so that's where I've really been trying to bolster my marketing, like I said, with my website and my blogs, and trying to find different places that will where I can advertise my services, and trying to, I have found that it is taking a level of creativity that maybe I didn't have to access before. So I've been really trying to find new venues and new ideas for what I can do to market.
And that those groups that you're involved in on Facebook is so essential to that, because they can, you can share ideas. And that's what we're hoping that this is too, is that, you share ideas where somebody may go, hey, I need to talk to you about how you did that and how did that work? So, but thank you for sharing that, because I know mental health right now is a concern, and especially when you're looking at the change in societal things that's going on. So I appreciate what you do, because I know that's not an easy task. So
the world is heavy for everyone right now.
It is. I know, we sat here, Holly and I talk about how, when a business calls us and they're just struggling with certain things, and how devastated we are for them, how, because our job is to try to help the business community. And sometimes we just don't have it. We just don't have that resource to help them. If I had multi-million dollars, I'd just give them some money to get them staying. But so it's a weight on our shoulders as well, because we,
I bet,
our hands are tied on some things. So
I appreciate what you do as well to offer these businesses support.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Ivy, what about Let's Roll? I know you've kind of changed your, your philosophy and what you're doing within your business. So kind of tell us how you're marketing that and how people are reacting to that.
So I think we kind of had a pivot coming in our business already. And in our case, the pandemic basically just kind of sped that up, or just forced it a little faster. But for anybody who doesn't know us, we currently do mobile auto detailing. And so we have had kind of a shift from more express services to almost exclusively exteriors and like restoration, enhancement, protection type services. So we have been on Facebook a lot since the beginning, looking at our numbers and our sources of clients. That is our bread and butter, followed by Google. So what we've been doing the last couple months, especially, is not just doing our organic Facebook posting, but also focusing more attention on paid advertisements on Facebook, because with those, you can target the right demographics who are the right fit, which saves them time and saves us time. So we're reaching the people who want what we have. So we've been doing a lot of that. And if you follow us, you've kind of seen recently, we're trying to kind of, nothing's set in stone yet, but we've been putting out teasers about, our changes. We're moving to a shop here pretty soon. I actually received the lease in my email a few minutes ago that we haven't had a chance to look over yet, but assuming there's no surprises there, we'll be signing a lease.
Awesome.
So really, really excited
Let
about
us know
that.
because we can do a ribbon cutting for you, okay?
Ooh, it's not in Andover though.
That's okay.
Okay.
You're still a member. You're still a
Okay.
member, so
Well, that would be really fun.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I'm really excited about the benefits that's going to bring our clients. So that's what we're focusing on right now, is talking about, because we're a luxury service. I mean, no one needs necessarily what we have. I mean, we feel like they need to do it because they're protecting, something they've spent a lot of money on. But as a luxury service, we're selling the benefits, what's going to enhance for them. Because a lot of our clients are people who they see their vehicles as part of their image. So kind of, responding to that basically. But yeah, doing that. And then I've been working on our website a lot because Google is a big deal for us too. So just being found that way. And obviously when everybody was stuck at home, kind of isolated, everyone was on social media more, but even people who have gone back to work, I don't know, maybe it just stuck, and everybody is online a lot right now. I get a little depressed when I see my little screen time report thing at the end of the week on my phone. But that's where the people are. That's where we need to be hanging out.
Right.
So yeah, that's mostly what we're doing. And
right.
Yeah.
Well, good luck on your location. I hope that works out for you.
Thanks. Me too. I'm really excited.
David, I know you're more of a specialty organization, but how have you been working on your marketing strategies as far as what's going on with your business and what's happening at the club?
We've probably upped we do 2 communications, and it's all email and it's all targeted to our members only. So we've been sending a lot more, like, here's what's going on at the club. We've been told that we do a pretty good job. Other our guests, our members, are members at usually other clubs,
Right.
and they'll have their club call us and say, what do you guys do that my member likes your communication better than my communication? I'm on a Zoom, sorry. So I think what we do is we're kind of the personality of a very informal, like, hey, we're doing this. For instance, we've got our fall treatments coming up on our greens, not to bore you with the other stuff, but we'll send pictures, we'll send everything out, reminders. It goes on about the process. There's links to the process and what it actually does from an ag standpoint, if they really want to get nerdy about it.
But your members appreciate that probably because they want a course that is taken care of, and
it's a love-hate relationship because it tears up the greens. So it's like, what are you doing that for? They're perfect. It's like, yes, that's why they're perfect, is we do this. And it's something every golf course goes through. But most of our members, we're still we've canceled all of our big events. Our member guests for this year have all been canceled. Even the ones that are kind of our smaller, I would say not as intense, those have been canceled just because safety, but mostly because if we can't do it absolutely like they're used to it, we don't want to have a product that's not what they're used to. Because once they get here, it'll be, well, why can't we, or what's the problem? And we'd hate for somebody to get sick. So it's just more of the same, to be boring about it. It's just making sure anything that happens, like we've had 2 COVID cases here, all the information went out. We asked the person and we sent everything out that we knew, and then we made decisions, sent those decisions out and told folks, this is why we feel like we can go safely. If you don't feel safe, don't come. Same for employees too. If you don't feel safe, don't come. So that's just kind of, it seems pretty simple, but it's just trying to take all this information that we've read and we still don't know anything about it and make a decision about it.
Yeah.
And I have to go pick up somebody from an airport, and I think that's what calls on.
Can I ask you one quick question though? Can I ask you a quick question? So do you continue to look for members?
Up, don't you?
Yeah.
We're always looking for members. Most of our members come from national. We're heavy. Right. we're more of a national club than we are a local club, but we are a strong local club if you're a golfer, since that's the only amenity we offer besides food is we're a golf club, Flinthills
And
National Golf Club. So
is it still
um,
nationally ranked? Your course?
yeah, we're just outside of the top 100, which
Okay.
to be in the top 200, it's great. There's a lot of golf courses out there, but we have done some major renovations this year, and we're looking in the next 2 years doing some more. We did a major tree removal, so and we've changed we redid one of the holes, which doesn't seem like much. There's 18 holes. We did one, big deal, but it's a big deal. So.
Well, any of you, when David has time sometime, if any of you want the lowdown on how that golf course came about, it's very, very interesting on how Tom Devlin, put that all together. So, and I don't know how many partners he's got, but it's a real neat, interesting story. So no partners.
It's a benevolent overlord. That's the management system.
Overlord.
It's a great system. And we love it. As long as he's benevolent, he can be an overlord.
There you go. He could be an overlord.
I didn't
Okay.
study that management system, but I recommend it for anybody.
Yeah. Well, I hope you get to pick up somebody very interesting at the airport.
I usually do, but I think I've got to run. So
All right, dear.
You guys take
Thanks.
care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So as you think about your businesses and what's been happening since COVID started, I know with us, we've seen a tremendous change in how we approach things. So it doesn't matter what it is. So kind of share a little bit about some of the changes that you've made within your business and because of the circumstances, and something that you'll keep moving forward and using as you go on. The chamber itself, one of the things that will probably continue to do with some of these Zoom meetings, not all of them. I am ready for in person to talk to people, but this is convenient for people. They can hop on for an hour or 45 minutes to an hour, and they don't feel like they're interrupting their day. So I think we'll continue that in some form moving forward. But what are you guys looking at moving forward to continue what you've started during the COVID that you never had any intention of starting, but this kind of pushed you to that?
Well, the nature of our business doesn't lend itself well to social distancing. Some of the things that I've had to do is I've had placards made up and printed that not stick to the floor, but will stay on the floor to help with the whole 6 feet thing. Doesn't ever work. Nobody wants to use it. We wear masks all the time as the business person. Half the people coming up or more don't. Most of the people that are hiring us to come out now are less risk averse than the people we're not seeing, obviously. So when we go someplace, they're always telling us, "Oh, you don't have to wear those. You don't need to wear those." And my bartenders just look at them and say, "We haven't been working for 3 months. We're going to wear them." So, but one of the I wouldn't say major changes. One of the changes that we've pushed forward in our financial timeline is to move more towards touchless points of sale to get that through. We've got a lot more requests for that. It's rather expensive to move totally towards that when you're talking about running 4 or 5 venues on one night. You've got to have enough for everybody. So, but you want to make sure that your customers are thinking that you are thinking of their safety. So whether they want it or not, they still want to see it.
Oops. Anybody else have anything that they want to share that they're doing a little differently than what they were pre-COVID?
I think one thing that we're doing a little better is the working from home aspect. We're all back in the office now, but now that we've worked through working at home, if you've got sick kids, if you're not feeling well yourself, there's a lot more flexibility, and we're pretty flexible anyways, but I've already worked from home 3 days in the last month because I had a sinus infection. It's like I didn't have to take sick leave and I didn't have to hack and cough around my coworkers. So it's kind of nice having all of that set up. And then, like you said, anyone who's not in, we just start a Zoom meeting, or we use Teams. So usually ours are team
Sure.
meetings, so that everybody can be included, even if you're at home. I think that just opened up a lot of possibilities for our employees, which, is just another perk for them. For our customers, our service didn't really decline. We didn't have our lobby open, which it's back open, but, we still provided the same level of service there.
Do you think that will, by providing that opportunity for, say, like if you have a sick kid and allow the employee to work from home, do you think that will help kind of have a snowball effect to where, some parents do send their kids to school not feeling well. So
Oh,
do you think that will change, kind of help that aspect of things?
I think it will, because I think this is definitely going to be the year that you can't send your kid to school
I know.
under the weather. And I've been guilty of that before too. It's like,
Yeah.
I know my child's not contagious.
I have two.
And, I've got one kid that if he had a sniffle, he'd stay home every day.
Yeah.
And it's like, nope, it's time to get up and go anyways. And so I think that'll help. We did purchase some Chromebooks that employees can check out,
Mm-hmm.
so that they're on a secure network
Right.
calling into work. So, it's just another great opportunity for our employees.
Yeah. Well, and I think we're going to see a lot more businesses that are open to letting their employees work from home, because they've seen that it works, that it's not, it's not the terrible thing that they initially thought at that point, but that it is working, and some people do that very well. I'm not
Yeah.
one of them. I will readily admit, me working from home is not a good thing. I've got
Yeah.
too many distractions, and my ADD kicks in, and squirrel, and I'm off doing something else. But I think a lot of businesses are seeing that is a perfectly good opportunity for retention, maybe even too, as well, for their employees.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is kind of interesting. I'm actually liking today because I've got questions for everybody else. But, so Sarah, so during the wintertime, I listen to a lot of books. So during the wintertime, I listen to a lot of fictional books and just kind of get away stuff. But during the summertime, that's my podcast time. So I listen to a lot of Freakonomics, a lot of Choiceology type podcasts. And Sarah, one of the things that I was listening to the other day was on working from home and the things that companies are coming up with. Some companies are reporting less productivity. Some employees are reporting that they work 10, 12 hours a day where they used to work 7 or 8 when they were actually going into the office, or their hours are getting odd. They'll work from 7 in the morning until 11, and then all of a sudden they're working from 8 o'clock at night until midnight or so. And then also the incumbency on the companies to somehow track that time and utilize that time. So I was just wondering, Sarah, or anybody else that is using the work from home for their employees, are you running up against any issues that you have to work around with the work at home crowd?
I would say really not. We have enough communication, especially with teams, that you can tell that people are working. Anytime I've kind of questioned it, we've got some things that we can check on that. But for the most part, we've got a great group of employees that are very responsible. And I haven't seen any issues, with people not working well, because they were in constant contact with us. We, thankfully, because we went into the internet business, we were uniquely positioned, because we have very unique software for our electric customers. And when we started Velocity, we moved that software into an online format. So, our employees can access that from anywhere, which has been a huge help. It would have been a lot more difficult to work from home had we not had that opportunity.
Okay.
Well, and I'm going to kind of ask Brittney, when you think about the people working from home, sometimes you need that work-life balance and that kind of thing. Do you think there's going to be some kind of effect on working from home and not having that separation?
So yes, I have noticed that people are struggling to find balance in their lives. So not feeling connected. I'm an attachment therapist. So how our primary people in our lives and how we're connecting to them and how we're feeling supported. So while the Zoom, this new Zoom culture has been beneficial to some, I know some people feel really safe being at home and being able to do this via Zoom. I still have a lot of clients that are, going crazy. They just need to get out and connect. So just trying to find balance. Yeah. I talk a lot about, my introvert clients and my extrovert clients of, how are your batteries being recharged? And, my introvert clients are like, this is the best thing ever. I can stay in quarantine for the rest of my life and do everything via Zoom. I am perfectly happy, And then my extrovert clients are struggling to feel like they're connected to their family and friends. And, we can't just go, it's good that they can, some things are opening up. We can go sit on a patio and have drinks with a friend or something like that. But it is more difficult to find connection. So if this continues, I can see the struggle that some businesses are having of like, being able to connect by the copy machine and, ideas coming up and stuff. This is just very formalized. And I know a lot of business and ideas, innovation comes from the informal times in businesses. So it's definitely it has changed a lot. And I'm curious to see how it's going to be moving forward. But yeah, I definitely see it's had its pros and cons, depending upon the personality mostly.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and my background is leadership development. And so one of the things that I've always taught is that building those relationships and those connections is what helps build trust among the group or the teams within the business. So it's harder to build those relationships when nobody's that you're connected by Zoom. It's you just don't have
it's harder
that,
to read a person's energy, over Zoom, and are we connecting? Are we not? So yeah, all of those things are difficult right now.
I was listening to a program yesterday that was saying, we've done a very good job as a society of accomplishing, Brittney, the things that you were saying, the formal meetings. We have to have a meeting on how to accomplish A, so we get together on Zoom and Pat and Becky and everybody chimes in and, okay, we're off to work. But the next thing for us to conquer are going to be the informal meetings at the water cooler. Hey, did you watch The Office last night? Oh, that would work here, and such and such, and those are the things that we're missing. My wife is a labor economist at Wichita State, and she got interviewed yesterday by the Eagle. And so she turned to me for some answers they were asking her, because I was a labor leader at my last job for probably about 20 years. And I said, the big things about labor unions and organizing during a pandemic is the fact that labor unions are very, hey, brother, how you doing? Hey, sister, how you doing? Give a hug, give a handshake. And they're missing all that. And employees are seeing that they still need a voice with management in order to make their work environment safe. But the labor organizers are having a difficult time because there's none of that touchy-feely, okay, let's get together and talk. Let's go out, hey, let's go out golfing next week. Let's go out for drinks. Let's go out for dinner. There's a lot of that that's missing now.
So Ivy, I know that you're all mobile pretty much, but what is Luke seeing out, with the customers? Are they pretty willing to interact and that kind of thing, or how does that look out in the public when he's working on some vehicles?
I mean, when everything kind of got real crazy there, we went as like contact free as possible, which we can really do. I mean, he can go from the inspection to the actual detail to invoicing without even seeing someone face to face, really, if they want to. but people, I mean, most of the people we've talked to have relaxed quite a bit.
Good.
They're pretty much like they have been. I think the only thing that occurred to me when you asked about like what we're doing differently, and this is more of a, I don't know, I guess personal, like how we respond with our business, is people are on edge, whether they are anxious or afraid, or, you know, they've had an incredibly stressful last 6 months, you know, whatever, you know, and then there's normal life on top of that. So we've just had to really talk to each other and sometimes talk each other down, you know, after interacting with someone who's just like, and, you know, like if you're a business and sometimes people interact with a business like they're a business, like there's not a human behind that business. So just considering that and trying to like take a deep breath and be like, okay, how can we diffuse things for them? How can we make their lives a little easier, not add to their stress at all? You know, whether it's just being like unceasingly friendly and polite, even if they're, you know, having a bad day, that kind of thing. We've seen that's the biggest change I think we've seen with our people, more than having to physically change something, I guess.
And I think, you know, people are under stress, but I also think they're easily to criticize, you know, certain things. And so I feel like I'm always on, you know, going, okay, if I wear a mask, I'm going to be, you know, they're going to say something. If I don't wear a mask, they're going to say something. So, you know, you're just like, what do I do? What do I do? But, you know, I've just resigned myself that, you know, this is what I'm going to do. And that's the way it works. But I do feel there is that level of anxiety that the business community, as well as just individual day-to-day life, there's that level of anxiety that people are dealing with. And I think Brittney mentioned that early on, that, you know, we're all dealing with. So, and how to handle that. But what else is going on in your guys' business? What's happening? Anything exciting you want to share? Other than a new location, possibly, a new business, possibly, a new, well, getting back into being pretty busy. And, you know, Sarah, I did see, we went out to eat in El Dorado. Mitch had just finished up work and we stopped and got something to eat, and saw a Velocity booth there on the corner.
Were you here like on Thankful Thursday?
Yeah, that might have been when it was. It was a Thursday evening, yes.
Yep. Yeah. So that's just a block from our office. And so we did go down there and, you know, gave away some Roku sticks and, you know, just a chance to meet people. We didn't think they'd come a block off. We had talked originally about doing hot dogs, but decided that this probably isn't the time to do that.
Yeah. But I thought that was neat to see you guys out there. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, we've been to Orchlands too, and the sale barn, and we're just trying to kind of get out and be seen in the community.
Yeah. So how is, you know, initially when Velocity started, it was more rural. You were looking at the rural. Are you getting into the communities now, or?
We are not. So we're really built to be a rural provider. We deliver all of our service wirelessly. So when you get in towns and there get to be, you know, a higher density and more trees, it's really difficult to deliver unless you're on the outskirts. And our main goal was to serve our members who were underserved. We've picked up some customers that we don't serve electricity to in that process, but we're still just very focused on the rural. We've picked up some businesses here in town just because we built a big tower at our office so that we could provide internet to ourselves.
Yeah.
So there have been some perks in that, but
yeah,
we're still really just focusing on providing, you know, underserved individuals in rural areas that cannot get high-speed internet.
Well, I know I appreciate it. Thank you.
We've had some really positive feedback. I mean, you always get the negative feedback in everything you do, but and I'm always amazed at the people that are like, oh, we had the foresight to bring it before COVID hit. And I'm like,
that's true. That is very true. That is very true. Well, what else do you guys want to share? Do you have anything else you want to let everybody know about? Okay,
I will say I appreciate Brittany's feedback.
I do too.
On the mental health aspect of everything. Yeah, I have a 17-year-old daughter who was a junior in high school when everything shut down, and very extroverted, very involved. And it was a struggle, a big struggle, and she's really worked through a lot of things this summer. But at the same time, school's getting ready to start, and it pumps her anxiety again because she hasn't been in school in 6 months.
Right.
And to go through and start those routines again when she hasn't had to sit in class for an hour and a half. And I think it'll be an interesting ride, and I think it'll be interesting to see how it affects people in the long term.
Absolutely. Yeah, I just recently did a blog post about so how the COVID pandemic has increased adverse childhood experiences. That there are there's so many issues that are not being reported right now because teachers are not in contact with these kids. They're not seeing patterns of abuse or any of those things. I think it will definitely have a long-term effect, especially since I deal with a lot of trauma. I also work with a lot of teenagers. I have 2 teen boys myself, and how it has impacted them. They're very involved in academics and sports. And I was just talking to my son about, if Wichita School District is not doing any sports, like how do they compete here in Andover, and what are they doing? I mean, it's just so anxiety provoking when you have teenagers looking at scholarships and everything's impacted. So I agree with you. I think it will have a long-term effect, but mental health therapists are here. So if we can help in any way.
That's what I say, we know.
I know, to your point about, the educators not seeing these kids and what kind of home life that they have and that kind of thing. We had the same kind of a conversation with the Sunshine Children's Home here in Andover. And that was one of the things that they said. No, they don't have a ton of kids at the home, but that's kind of a scary thing. And yeah, because you don't know, there's a lot of those kids that don't have anybody
Right.
to check on them anymore.
That's right. Yeah. The calls to DCF have decreased, and that's terrifying.
It's scary. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I'm wondering, I had this discussion with my wife the other night. So I read a couple books before because I was just interested on the generations, in the workforce, the baby boomers, the Gen X's, the millennials and stuff like that. So there's obviously, I would think that the next generation that they're going to coin the term for would be something with COVID, right? Coming out, it's going to be the COVID-19ers. And what do they bring to the table? Every generation has brought something different to the economics of the U.S. Where are their priorities at? Are they more environmentalist? Will this group be more health conscious? And I just think that type of stuff is just extremely interesting to find out where is all this going to take us in 15 years? Where's that going to be when this group of kids that experienced the high school experience, experienced distance learning, those being born now, because we're going to have some sort of a baby boom come out of this. What are their priorities going to be in life? I find that highly interesting.
Well, and it's one of those things too, Pat, just along those lines. Right now, we have 5 generations in the workplace.
Yeah.
5 separate generations within the workplace, because the baby boomers are working longer. They're not retiring at 65. They're working until 75, sometimes even 80. And then you've got the incoming generation that's going into the workforce. So, there's a definite communication gap between those 70-year-olds and those, 16, 17, 18-year-olds. So
I agree. You have a lot of, there's a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? There's a lot of, not intelligence, a lot of knowledge in those older workers that is begging to be passed down and there's a lot of angst on the part of millennials, the okay boomers, type of response that you get, because they don't want to be told what to do. And we didn't either at that age. We wanted to find out for ourselves. So yeah, you're right. That communication, companies that know how to communicate that to that knowledge base, so they can take it and communicate it in a manner that everybody can accept it. Those are going to be the successful ones moving up.
Exactly. Well, I have so enjoyed this conversation this morning. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about? Well, share with your friends that this is, that this is a good way to connect with people, but also I want to do these in person, but it's not available right now. But that is what we want to do, is share ideas, share thoughts, and hopefully you got something from today and what you can take back and utilize. And thank you again very much. Just to kind of give you an update on the chamber, we have canceled our cornhole tournament, and we've canceled the Safe Halloween. We just couldn't figure out a way to do either one of those in a safe manner. And we sure didn't want anybody to get sick on our watch. So at this point, we canceled both of those. We are going to have the Success for Women conference. It'll be virtual, but we will do that on October 28th. So be watching for that information on that. We're excited to be able to offer that virtually. So we just got to get it figured out. We're hoping to get some really good keynote speakers and then some workshops speakers. So be on the lookout for that. Anybody else have any announcements they want to make before we get off of here?
We just opened up ticket sales again, so we had to move that Bourbon Salute, the fundraiser for the First Sergeant Association. So that's on October 2nd now in Derby. They gave us the large venue. So we had about 70 people. We're going to take it up to about 90 to 100, so we can still separate everybody.
Right.
But if you look up Bourbon Salute on Facebook, if anybody's interested in that, they're open again.
Awesome. Thank you, Pat. All right. Well, it was great to see everybody. Sarah, great to see your picture.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know what the deal is. It updated my Zoom just as I got on this morning, and there was nothing. Even the IT guy couldn't make me come back. So
well, it's crazy. It's crazy, but thank you all very much, Brittney. It was so great to see you and meet you. And
thank you. So nice to meet you.
If you need anything, let us know, and we'll be in contact, and we'll go from there. So, thank you guys. Happy Friday. Have a good weekend.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
bye, guys.